Hey everyone, this is MrAddOil again, helping you fight your today for your better tomorrow. And in this video, we're going to be reviewing the job search template that I used when I was searching for my software developer roles. And for this video, it's just a high level of all the concepts that I put into this Google spreadsheet, and that then the template to that Google spreadsheet will be in the link in my description. And it's actually going to be inside my blog. So you click on the link to my blog, and then in the first beginning of the page, there should be a hyperlink where you can click and get access to that Google spreadsheet template. And I highly advise that you take a look at that and then make a copy of it and then adapt it to your own job search situation. So the first best practice tips in that Google Sheet template is to create a matrix of some points, some values that you appreciate in a new job opportunity. Basically, you want to have some sort of scoring matrix. One that's like a ideal benchmark, that's your baseline, which you use to compare it against other opportunities that come down your pipeline, which eventually turn into an offer. And in the best situation, when you have multiple offers, you can refer to this matrix and compare which companies align with the predefined baseline ideal values that you have for your next job opportunity. And in having such a scoring matrix, it really helps you make a data-informed decision about your next job opportunity if you had multiple job offers. And while doing so, it's a great way to have time for yourself to do some self-reflection and introspection about what you value in a career or job. Next, you want to have a place where you list out all the roles that you want to work. And this is powerful because it allows you to visually see what you're aiming for. I recommend looking for job roles, job titles, and then putting in at that tab that I created in that template, and then also copy and paste the job description that you see from like Indeed, Glassdoor, and then from that single tab you can see all the roles that you're trying to aim for, and then you can look at the common characteristics, the skill sets that you need to get those roles. Next, I recommend having a section where you list out all the companies that you want to work for. And the way you want to organize it is you want to organize it in a way where there's a section for public companies or big tech companies like Apple, Google, and then there'll be another section for mid-size public companies or late, like pre-IPO startups, and then another section for like mid-size startups, and then lastly for just like the smaller startups. When you do this, it's a great exercise of figuring out what type of company that you like, what type of industry. Within that tab, I listed out several columns where you can aggregate different parts or different type of informations concerning those companies. You can look at their Glassdoor review, you can look at their company values, you can look at their industry and their company size, right? Like how many employees are working there. So you can look at all this, and then when you're reviewing all of the data within that tab, you can be like, oh, I actually gravitate towards this type of company. I'm really excited about this type of company. This is also really helpful when you're about to do your job search because you can prioritize which companies you start out with. Typically, people start off with the low-hanging fruits or the companies that are a lot easier to interview with and low risk, like startups. And then they slowly work their way up to like their dream companies, which would be like Google, Apple, etc. Next, you want to have a section that lists out all of your connections. That could be connections that you have right now in your friend circle or LinkedIn, Facebook, anywhere you can find. Just have one place where you can aggregate all of your contacts that can help refer you to a job opportunity. This section is also important when you're networking and meeting new friends, new professionals. You can also keep track of them and then link them down in that tab so that in the future, if you ever need to reference them or hit them up, you have a working list with their contact information, emails, to reach out to them at a future time. Also, you want to have a section for networking events. Typically, I stay away from networking events because it just takes a lot of investment in terms of commuting there, spending your time there and commuting back, that can take like easily 4 or 5 hours out of your day. So I recommend curating the best networking events to go to, and typically within a quarter you want to at most just go to 1 networking event per month, and then per quarter just 3. And like I said, you want to just filter out all the, I guess, lesser networking events where you might find yourself in a sea of coding bootcamp grads where it's just really hard to get some sort of lead. And next, working with recruiters. I mentioned in my previous videos that I don't really like working with recruiters. They're very much self-driven in trying to close the sales for themselves, but you still want to keep track of the recruiters that you talk to, just in case that you might need to follow up with them in the future. And then when you reach back out to them, you can have a log of the conversations that you had with them or the roles that you were trying to work on together. But don't spend so much of your time on recruiters. Just talk to them, do whatever they ask of you, log it into your Google spreadsheet, and then move on. And lastly, you want to record all of your job search. So you want to record them by date, role, company, and then even salary numbers if the job ad posts them up, right? And then you also want to hyperlink the original job description into your Google Sheet. You also want to record who's your primary contact at the company that you're interviewing for. And then for each interview stage, you want to type it out so that it lists the date of that interview, the primary person for that interview, and what that interview entails. So for example, it could be, it will be my first phone screen on this type of date, and then it will be with the hiring manager. And typically I would hyperlink the interviewer's LinkedIn into that specific cell of that spreadsheet. So this best practice applies both for your primary job search and your secondary job search. For every different type of role that you're applying for, I highly recommend creating a separate tab and tracking it separately from your main primary job search. So for me, it was like I was searching for software developer jobs, so I had a tab for that. And then for my secondary roles, which was for product manager roles, I had a second tab for that, and a third tab for other roles that I applied to. And that's all I have for this video. What I want to leave you off with, one concept is success is measurable. So in doing this practice of using a Google Sheet template to track all your job opportunities, to track all your interactions with people who can potentially give you a job offer, this helps you measure success. It keeps you encouraged during your job search, and it just empowers you. So I highly recommend you take a look at that Google spreadsheet template that I've linked in my blog, which is also linked in the description of this YouTube video, and look at it, make a copy for yourself, and adapt it to your own job search situation. Again, this is MrAddOil helping you fight your today for your better tomorrow. If you like what you see, if you found this content to be helpful, please subscribe and support my channel.